Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner, is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner, is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion? I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.
Ripon Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripon Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
Multiverse broadcasting system initiated.
Hello.
Lasers.
Multiverse connection established.
Hello.
Multiverse connection secure.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
This is My Life DIY, and
Hi, this is JoJo.
Hi, my name is Ash.
Hey everybody, it's AJ the Ripon Rabbit.
This is Cynthia Sue Larson.
This is your man Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
And you're now listening
to Dark Wolf's Den.
The Dark Wolf's Den Show on Ripon Common Sense Radio.
Are ghosts real?
We had 1,000 hours of continuous communication with the spirit world.
Does time travel actually exist?
The laws of physics seem to be compatible with time machines.
You know, sometimes I wonder about reincarnation, don't you?
A 4-year-old boy in Adelaide, Australia, has told his parents that he used to be Britain's Princess Diana.
What would happen if the world found out that aliens were real?
I didn't say disclosure would be easy, but what is the alternative?
To establish a space force as the 6th branch of the armed forces.
We have so many questions and yet so little time, so to have you here, the pleasure is all mine.
Coming to you from a secret mountain cave, hidden deep within the Idaho wilderness. This is the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and we are broadcasting live across the multiverse from a secret cave hidden high up in the beautifully snow-covered peaks of the Idaho mountains. That's right. We're ripping through the electromagnetic soup, tearing through the atmosphere, and tunneling away into your radio like a quantum particle. This is the Dark Wolf's Den Show for Thursday, July 1st, 2021, exclusively on Ripon Common Sense Radio in the Ripon Rabbit Hole. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go over the long-awaited UFO UAP report recently released last week, as a matter of fact, by the government. Spoiler alert, it's not what I hoped it would be, but it's everything that I expected. We're going to go over that word for word tonight, coming to a radio near you Thursday, July 1st, 2021, on the Dark Wolf's Den Radio Show. But first, today in history. On this day in 1905, the great Albert Einstein introduces his theory of special relativity, a theory that still holds true and is being proven to this day. And that was on this day in 1905. That is today's Today in History. And of course, Albert Einstein was very bothered by his theory of special relativity. Like, it really got to him. There were things in the math that he didn't like. Like that was the beginning of quantum physics, if I'm not mistaken, too. And there's parts of quantum physics and special relativity that he did not like. Is well known with the God playing dice with the universe quote that I've used on this channel many times and on the show. But it also could explain some of the propulsion systems that the off-world aliens, if they are real, could use to get here. And there was one person that thought they were very real, and that brings us to our quote of the night.
Say what?
I swear I love that sound effect every time it gets me. Anyways, folks, tonight's quote comes from former astronaut, the late Edgar Mitchell. He said, and I quote, "I happen to be privileged enough to be in on the fact that we have been visited on this planet, and the UFO phenomena is real." End quote. Again, that is former astronaut, the late Edgar Mitchell. And that is tonight's segment of
Say What?
And for those that may not know, Edgar Mitchell was very outspoken about his beliefs in UFOs and the things that he learned from his personal experiences. Another group that's very informed about UFOs, at least in my opinion, is the U.S. government. And they, as of the 25th of June 2021, officially released the, quote, preliminary assessment, unidentified aerial phenomenon. And this is from the Officer of the Director of National Intelligence. And we have this 9-page report right here in front of us. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, 9 pages. So it's not very long at all. I told you it's what I expected, but it's definitely not what I hoped that it would be. And we're going to start off with the very beginning. It says scope and assumptions. Scope. This preliminary report is provided by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, ODNI, in response to the provision in Senate Report 116-233, accompanying the Intelligence Authorization Act for fiscal year 2021, that the DNI, Director of National Intelligence, in consultation with the Secretary of Defense, is to submit an intelligent assessment of the threat posed by unidentified aerial phenomenon and the progress of the Defense of United Aerial Phenomenon Task Force has made in understanding this threat. This report provides an overview for policymakers of the challenges associated with characterizing the potential threat posed by UAP. UAP stands for, by the way, Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon. It's their new word for UFO. That's how they got away with not releasing a lot of files under the FOIA requests, is because the people didn't know the terminology had been switched to UAP. Anyway, getting back to our report here. It says the report is an overview for policymakers, once again, on the challenges associated with characterizing the potential threat posed by UAPs, while also providing a means to develop relevant processes, policies, technologies, and training for the U.S. military and other U.S. government personnel if and when they encounter a UAP or UFO, so as to enhance the intelligent community's ability to understand this threat. So they've already designated UFOs, UAPs, a threat. Not ask any questions first, they're a threat, ask questions later. That sounds pretty much like our military, right, guys? But I do like the fact right here, let me step in just real quick and say that I like the fact that they are apparently publicly trying to create relevant processes and policies for actually understanding and accepting the reality of this situation. So credit where it's due on that, little credit as it is. Says the director of the UAP task force, UAPTF is how it's written in here, is the accountable official for ensuring the timely collection and consolidation of data on UAP. The data set described in this report is currently limited primarily to U.S. government reporting of incidents occurring from November 2004 to March 2021. So that's 17 years of reporting out of decades. So let's keep that in mind. They actually used a very, very, very small sliver of information compared to all the data that they undoubtedly have. Data continues to be collected and analyzed, it says, which I'm sure it does. They've got decades that they've yet to tell us about. ODNI, Office of Director of National Intelligence, prepared this report for the Congressional Intelligence and Armed Services Committees. UAPTF and the ODNI National Intelligence Manager for Aviation drafted this report with input from USD INS, whoever that may be, DIA DIA, Department of Intelligence Agencies, the FBI, of course, the NRO, the NGA, the NSA. We all know how bad those guys are. The Air Force, Army, Navy, ONI, DARPA, FAA, NOAA, NGA, ODNI, NIM, Emerging and Disruptive Technology, ODNI, National Counterintelligence and Security Center, and ODNI, National Intelligence Council. And I do apologize for the series of alphabet groups that it listed there. This is apparently where all the information has been collected from. And then it goes into assumptions, because, if you're a tinfoil hatter and you make assumptions, you're just crazy. If you're the government and you make assumptions, that's just par for the course, right? Anyway, next section says assumptions. Various forms of sensors that register UAP generally operate correctly and capture enough real data to allow initial assessment, but some UAP may be attributable to sensor anomalies. Executive summary. We're on page 3 now. The limited amount of high-quality reporting on unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, hampers the ability to draw firm conclusions about the nature or intent of UAP. So let me break that down a little bit more into English here. The high-quality reporting basically doesn't allow us to really draw any conclusions about what they really are or what they're trying to do. We don't know anything, basically, is what they said. That's pretty much that whole sentence boils down to. We don't really know anything about it. The Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, UAPTF, considered a range of information on UAP described in U.S. military and IC intelligence community reporting. But because the reporting lacked sufficient specificity, ultimately recognized that a unique, tailored reporting process was required to provide sufficient data for analysis of UAP events. So what they're saying here is basically they decided, we don't collect enough evidence and data. We actually should start taking this seriously and collecting these data in a structured way. Again, something I kind of like to see, but never trust the government when they say they're here to help, that we know. And back to the report, it says, as a result, the UAP task force concentrated its review on reports that occurred between 2004 and 2021, the majority which are a result of this new tailored process to better capture UAP events through formalized reporting. So apparently they had actually started the reporting processes back in 2004, without the public being aware of it. And of course, the public were told, no, we're not looking at that at all until 2017, the very end of 2017. Most of the UAP reported probably do represent physical objects, given that a majority of UAP were registered across multiple sensors to include radar, infrared, electro-optical, weapon seekers, and visual observation. So being that they were able to register on all these different sensors and regular standard observation at once, we have to believe that they're real, basically, is what that says. It says, in a limited number of incidents, UAP reportedly appeared to exhibit unusual flight characteristics. Well, if that isn't every UFO case we've ever heard, right? Everyone who's ever reported seeing UFOs says they have unusual flight characteristics. These observations could be the result of sensor errors, spoofing, or observer misconception and require additional rigorous analysis. So that's their way of saying, we really don't know. We think it's probably an error in the equipment, which we know is not an error in the equipment. That is them covering their rear ends. They know that too. Make no mistake. Again, this report is what I expected, but not what I hoped it would be. There are probably, it says, multiple types of UAP requiring different explanations based on the range of appearances and behaviors described in available reporting. Our analysis of the data supports the construct that if and when individual UAP incidents are resolved, they will fall into one of 5 potential explanatory categories: airborne clutter, natural atmospheric phenomena, USG or U.S. industry developmental programs, foreign adversary systems, and a catch-all other bin. So I'm going to go back over that. It says there are probably multiple types of UAPs. I'll agree there. It says so they're going to break them down into 5 categories that they're going to try to explain them with, right? Which is, again, airborne clutter, natural phenomena, USG or U.S. industrial development, foreign adversary, and a catch-all for everything else. UAP clearly pose a safety of flight issue and may pose a challenge to U.S. national security. Now, a flight risk I could see if they're in the flight path of a plane or something like that. I'll give them that, but these things seem to move a lot quicker than our stuff does, so I don't think it's really that big of an issue. Safety concerns primarily center on aviators contending with an increasingly cluttered air domain, which is what I just said. UAP would also represent a national security challenge if they are foreign adversary collection platforms or provide evidence they really wrote this wrong. Provide evidence of a potential adversary has developed either a breakthrough or disruptive technology, which is fair if we think China or Korea or one of our enemies has developed a technology beyond ours. That's definitely a national security problem. I'll agree to that. Consistent consolidation of reports from across the federal government, standardized reporting, increased collection and analysis, and a streamlined process for screening all such reports against a broad range of relevant USG data will allow for a more sophisticated analysis of UAP that is likely to deepen our understanding. Well, I can't disagree there. It's about time you decided to actually put the data together and come up with something, right? We've been saying it for years in the UFO community, but we were tinfoil hat crazies then, right? Anyway, back to the report. Some of these steps are resource intensive and would require additional investment. Of course, they're always asking for more money, right? UFOs, they're real. We don't know what they are. We need more money. Give us more money. We want to study it. Give us more money. Funny. It's going in front of Congress, right? How convenient. They've turned the UFO topic into a money-making topic for the military-industrial complex, as we know. On to page 4. Available reporting largely inconclusive. Limited data leaves most UAP unexplained, which we kind of seen coming. Limited data and inconsistency in reporting are key challenges to evaluating UAP. No standardized reporting mechanism existed until the Navy established one in March of 2019. So they didn't have a regular standardized reporting system in the Navy till 2019. As we know, you got ridiculed and threatened with your job if you said a word about it in the Army or military, right? The Air Force subsequently adopted the mechanism in November 2020, but it remains limited to USG reporting. The UAP task force regularly heard anecdotally during its research about other observations that occurred, but which never captured informal or informal reporting by those observers. So captured inside of formal or informal reporting by the observers. Basically, once again, they limited where the data was going and they still weren't able to figure out anything. After carefully considering this information, the UAP task force focused on reports that involved UAP largely witnessed firsthand by military aviators and that were collected from systems we considered to be reliable. Because, the government's great at choosing reliability, but that's just my opinion. Back to the report. These reports describe incidents that occurred between 2004 and 2021, with the majority coming in the last 2 years as the new reporting mechanism became better known to the military aviation community. We were able to identify one reported UAP with high confidence. In that case, we identified the object as a large deflating balloon. You heard that right. They explained this one away as a deflating balloon. That's fair. The others remain unexplained, so I'll give up one for you to admit the rest of them you can't explain. 144 reports originated from USG sources. Of these, 80 reports involved observation with multiple sensors. Most reports describe UAP as objects that interrupted pre-planned training or other military activity. So it's going over training zones and interrupting the military themselves. That's kind of funny, I gotta say. And we've heard many stories about them just turning off nuclear weapons, right? Over and over again, they've been over nuclear bases and just shut the weapons down or turn them on, just to remind them that they could, right? UAP collection changes. This is a little separate box they put in here kind of on its own with a different color. So sociocultural stigmas and sensor limitations remain obstacles to collecting data on UAP. So they're saying the sensors just ain't good enough. Although some technical challenges such as how to appropriately filter out radar clutter to ensure safety of flight for military and civilian aircraft, are long-standing in the aviation community, while others are unique to the UAP problem set. Narratives from aviators in the operational community and analysts from the military and intelligence community describe disparagement associated with observing UAP, reporting it, or attempting to discuss it with colleagues. Of course, once again, the ridicule for even bringing it up. Although the effects of these stigmas have lessened as senior members of the scientific, policy, military, and intelligence communities engage on the topic seriously in public, reputational risk may keep many observers silent, complicating scientific pursuit of the topic. Well, it's about time they realize that the problem they have caused for decades and decades, where they have done their best to silence witnesses, has actually caused a problem in figuring it out scientifically. You don't say. It's only been something we've been screaming at the government for decades. I'm just saying. Anyway, let me get back off that soapbox. We've got a couple moments left. I need to finish out this page. The sensors mounted on a U.S. military platform are typically designed to fulfill specific missions. As a result, those sensors are not generally suited for identifying UAP. Sensor vantage points and the number of sensors concurrently observing an object play substantial roles in distinguishing UAP from known objects and determining whether a UAP demonstrates breakthrough aerospace capabilities. Optical sensors have the benefit of providing some insight into relative size, shape, and structure. Radio frequency sensors provide more accurate velocity and range information. So they have a large number of sensors set up for different reasons, but a lot of them aren't set for the parameters of catching a UFO or a UAP, basically is what this says. So far, we've made it about halfway through this document, and they've said exactly what I expected them to say. Absolutely nothing. They basically said, yeah, okay, so we have fixed the reporting system to where there won't be ridicule anymore. You won't be threatened. Your job won't be threatened. Your life won't be threatened. You can openly talk about this now. You can report it to us. We want to actually scientifically understand it. It only took them 4 or 5 decades to try to do that. Do I believe they're actually trying to scientifically understand it? This is the government. I don't believe a word the government says. But at least they're coming out even a little bit and saying, all right, look, here's what we know, here's what we don't. And they are agreeing that they don't know a whole lot of anything, which again is kind of what I expected. I kind of thought they'd come out and say, yeah, well, we don't really know what's going on. We know they exist. We know they're real. Although I don't think that's the truth. I think they know a ton more. I think what's not being said here is a lot more important than what is being said here. I think what they're doing is trying to give a very, very, very base reason to try to get funding into these programs, which, let's be honest, we both know the funding will not go where it's supposed to if it goes into these programs. It will go into the black world budget of these programs, right? But I gotta say, I am impressed. They have come out and officially, publicly said, hey, you know, they are real. We are officially making a statement and a stance. They're real. We don't know what they are. We don't know where they came from. And we don't have a lot of sensor data on them. Now, again, they have chosen a very small sliver of cases. Let's be really honest here. They're talking about 04 to 2021, 2019, 18, 17. So, yes, 17 years of case files out of 60 to 70 years of case files. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a little bit of a cherry pick selection to me. And I get it, they had to choose a selection. I get that. But I think they cherry picked what they were looking for when they chose these selections. Or perhaps they know something, right? That's something we'll get into in the second half. Why did they release this report now? This is not a distraction. It's clearly not working as a distraction if that's what they wanted it to do. They've not put enough emphasis on this for this to be such a big distraction, except for in the alternative communities. So, and it's not even a distraction then. As a matter of fact, a lot of the alternative community are not happy with this report at all, and I can see why. And we will continue on with the second half of this report and the second half of the Dark Wolf's Den show right after these messages. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, take in the things that we've talked about in the first half, and we'll be right back after these messages. Don't you touch that dial. That's right.
We gotta stoke the fires and run off the men in black. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Oh, yeah. That's right. On a Thursday night. Hi, everyone. It's AJ, the Ripon Rabbit. Are you enjoying tonight's review of the UFO UAP report? I know I am. If you are and you haven't done so already, please make sure to thumb up that video, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell. You'll get our notifications every time we go live. We're here every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, bringing you the very best of common sense radio, the Ripon Rabbit Hole. I'll return again tomorrow night, Friday, July 2nd, as we explore red, white, and blue. Put on your patriotic outfits, wear a flag, and join us this weekend as we celebrate our independence, the 4th of July weekend. Oh my goodness. We have a packed, explosive schedule from now until the 4th of July. Let me tell you, our red, white, and blue tomorrow night is going to be explosive. Stars and Stripes, then Saturday night, July 3rd. We're going to get truly ready to celebrate our independence here at the Ripon Rabbit Hole. Saturday night, Stars and Stripes. You're going to have to tune in and join us for the significance on this Independence weekend of these broadcasts. Then we'll end out the weekend right together with you Sunday night, the 4th of July, for the big Boom Boom Spectacular. That's right, the interactive family game show that occurs the first Sunday of every month takes to the airwaves on a holiday evening, the 4th of July. Light, fuse, and get away. Who will be crowned the all-new name yet to be determined, king or queen? We're going to find out and end out the holiday weekend right together with you. Sunday night, July 4th. All shows start at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. If you haven't done so already, please hop on over to the riponrabbithole.com. That's RIPONRABBITHOLE.com. There you can sign up for your exclusive Backstage Pass. It's going to give you unfiltered access down the rabbit hole where the conversation continues. I'm looking forward. Can you believe it? July 4th already? My, oh my, how time does fly. I really feel like we were just kicking off June yesterday. I really feel that way. Put a 1 in the chat room if you feel that way too. That time is just flying way too fast. I can tell you, I'm a 1 on that one for sure. We'll return to Jerry Hicks and the Dark Wolf's Den radio show as he continues to review the latest report on UFOs and UAPs in his exclusive UFO UAP report review. You're listening to the Ripon Common Sense Radio Network. Now back to Jerry Hicks and the Dark Wolf's Den show.
Reestablishing multiverse connection. Connection reestablished and secure.
This is My Life DIY, and
Hi, this is JoJo.
Hi, my name is Oz.
Hey, everybody. It's AJ, the Ripon Rabbit.
This is Cynthia Sue Larson.
This is your man Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
And you're now listening
to Dark Wolf's Den.
The Dark Wolf's Den show on Ripon Common Sense Radio.
If you were meant to be controlled, you would have come with a remote, but you didn't. And that's why you listen to the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And welcome back to the second half of the Dark Wolf's Den Show for Thursday, July 1st, 2021, exclusively on Ripon Common Sense Radio, RiponRabbitHole.com. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, if you missed the first half, we have been going through the UFO UAP report released by the federal government. Of course, it hasn't said a whole lot so far, and we're halfway through. Let's see what the second half has in store. And without any further ado, let's dig right back in. The next section says, but some potential patterns do emerge. Although there was wide variability in the reports and data set is currently too limited to allow for detailed trend or pattern analysis, there was some clustering of UAP observations regarding shape, size, and particularly propulsion. UAP sightings also tend to cluster around U.S. training and testing grounds, but we assess that this may result from a collection bias as a result of focused attention, greater numbers of last-generation sensors operating in those areas, unit expectations, and guidance to report anomalies. And a handful of UAP appear to demonstrate advanced technology. In 18 incidents described in 21 reports, observers reported unusual UAP movement patterns or flight characteristics. Some UAP appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed, without discernible means of propulsion. In a small number of cases, military aircraft systems processed radio frequency energy associated with UAP sightings, which, again, we know to be very true, as a lot of electronics mess up and radios mess up when UFOs are near. The UAP task force holds a small amount of data that appear to show UAP demonstrating acceleration or a degree of signature management. Additional rigorous analysis are necessary by multiple teams or groups of technical experts to determine the nature and validity of these data. We are considering further analysis to determine if breakthrough technologies were demonstrated. UAP probably lack a single explanation. Yeah, duh. The UAP documented in this limited dataset demonstrate an array of aerial behaviors, reinforcing the possibility that there are multiple types of UAP requiring different explanations. Our analysis of the data supports the construct that if and when individual UAP incidents are resolved, they will fall into one of 5 potential explanatory categories. And yes, it is repeating what it said a moment ago. And that is, again, airborne clutter, natural atmospheric phenomenon, USG or Industry Development Program, foreign adversary systems, and a catch-all other bin. With the exception of one instance where we determined with high confidence that the reported UAP was airborne clutter, specifically a deflating balloon, we currently lack sufficient information in our dataset to attribute incidents to specific explanations. So they could only explain one out of all of the ones they've got, and they're proud of that one apparently. Airborne clutter. These objects includes birds, balloons, recreational unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs or drones, or airborne debris like plastic bags that muddle a scene and affect an operator's ability to identify true targets such as enemy aircraft. Natural atmospheric phenomenon. Natural atmospheric phenomena include ice crystals, moisture, and thermal fluctuations that may register on some infrared and radar systems. USG or Industry Developmental Programs. Some UAP observations could be attributed to developments and classified programs by U.S. entities, so secret black budget projects, they're saying. We were unable to confirm, however, that these systems accounted for any of the UAP reports that we collected. Yeah, like they're actually going to tell them. foreign adversary systems. Some UAP may be technologies deployed by China, Russia, another nation, or a non-governmental entity. And then the other category. Although most of the UAP, on to page 6 by the way, most of the UAP described in our dataset probably remain unidentified due to limited data or challenges to collection, processing, or analysis. We may require additional scientific knowledge to successfully collect on, analyze, and characterize some of them. I like the fact that they're talking about reaching out to the scientific community. That's pretty cool. We would group such objects in this category pending scientific advances that allowed us to better understand them. The UAP task force intends to focus additional analysis on the small number of cases where a UAP appeared to display unusual flight characteristics or signature management, whatever that means. I guess that's the unusual flight characteristics they're talking about. UAP threaten flight safety and possibly national security. UAP pose a hazard to safety of flight and could pose a broader range of some instances broader danger if some instances represent sophisticated collection against U.S. military activities by a foreign government, or demonstrate a breakthrough aerospace technology by a potential adversary. And of course, that would be pretty dangerous if one of our adversaries had technology that could blow us out of the water, basically. Ongoing airspace concerns. When aviators encounter safety hazards, they are required to report these concerns. Depending on the location, volume, and behavior of hazards during incursion or ranges, pilots may cease their tests and or training and land their aircraft, which has a deterrent effect on reporting. The UAPTF has 11 reports of documented instances in which pilots reported near misses with the UAP. Potential national security challenges. We currently lack the data to indicate any UAP are part of a foreign collection program or indicative of major technological advancement by a potential adversary. So basically they're saying they've ruled that out. We continue to monitor for evidence of such programs, given the counterintelligence challenge they would pose, particularly as some UAP have been detected near military facilities or by aircraft carrying the USG's most sensitive sensor systems. Explaining UAP will require analytic collection and resource investment. In line with provisions of Senate Report 116-233 accompanying the IAA for FY 2021, the UAPTF's long-term goal is to widen the scope of its work to include additional UAP events documented by a brighter swath of USG personnel and technical systems in its analysis. As the dataset increases, the UAP task force's ability to employ data analytics to detect trends will also improve. The initial focus will be to employ artificial intelligence, machine learning algorithms to cluster and recognize similarities and patterns in features of data points. As the database accumulates information from known aerial objects such as weather balloons, high-altitude or superpressure balloons, and wildlife, machine learning can add efficiency by pre-assessing UAP reports to see if those reports match similar events already in the database. The UAP Task Force has begun to develop interagency analytical and processing workflows to ensure both collection and analysis will be well-informed and coordinated. So, in other words, they're trying to coordinate better reporting of these case files. The majority of UAP data is from U.S. Navy reporting, but efforts are underway to standardize incident reporting across U.S. military services and other government agencies to ensure all relevant data is captured with respect to particular incidents and any U.S. activities that might be relevant. The UAP Task Force is currently working to acquire additional reporting, including from the U.S. Air Force, and has begun receiving data from the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA. Although USAF data collection has been limited historically to the U.S. Air Force, began a 6-month pilot program in November 2020 to collect in the most likely areas to encounter UAP, and is evaluating how to normalize future collection, reporting, and analysis across the entire Air Force. The FAA captures data related to UAP during the normal course of managing air traffic operations. The FAA generally ingests this data when pilots and other airspace users report unusual or unexpected events to the FAA's air traffic organization. In addition, the FAA continuously monitors its systems for anomalies, generating additional information that may be of use to the UAP task force. The FAA is able to isolate data of interest to the UAPTF and make it available. The FAA has a robust and effective outreach program that can help the UAP task force reach members of the aviation community to highlight the importance of reporting UAPs. The UAP task force is looking for novel ways to increase collection of UAP cluster areas when U.S. forces are not present as a way to baseline standard UAP activity and mitigate the collection bias in the data set. One proposal is to use advanced algorithms to search historical data captured and stored by radars. The UAPTF also plans to update its current interagency UAP collection strategy in order to bear relevant collection platforms and methods from the DoD and the intelligence community. Increase investment in research and development. The UAP task force has indicated that additional funding for research and development could further the future study of the topics laid out in this report. Of course, they always want more money, right? Such investments should be guided by a UAP collection strategy, UAP R&D technical roadmap, and UAP program plan. And then it goes into the appendix and explanations of different words, and I'm not going to waste your time on that, but it makes you wonder, why are they putting this out now? Do they know something that we don't know? I was listening to Jimmy Church discuss this last night, and him and Billy Carson bring up a really wonderful point. Do the powers that be know something's coming? And the reason I asked that is right after this came out, I seen a couple articles that have come out in the last couple days that basically state there's a large object that's coming out of the Kuiper Belt or the Oort cloud, one of those areas way out there. A large, like really large meteoroid or even planet is headed this way. Now, it's really interesting that this would be released just days after they released this UFO report. What is the point of releasing this information now? What are they trying to accomplish? It just seems a little strange to me, the timing that they've chosen in which to do this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they finally turned another leaf and decided to come clean, right? That doesn't seem like the case to me, though. It's like they want to bring this into the public domain for a reason. Like they want to make this an official thing so that when something occurs that apparently they know is about to occur, probably pretty soon, relatively speaking, that we won't be surprised by it. Maybe aliens are on the way. Because think about it. What's the next logical step? Now that they've admitted that they are real, they've admitted that there's something they can't explain, and they've gotten short of calling it aliens. They never said aliens in the report, but they did say they cannot explain anything in those files except for one, and that was a deflated balloon. So I wonder, what is the point of putting this into the public knowledge? Why now? Why this? And of course, they left out a lot of information. That was really a drip feed of information. That was next to nothing. That was basically saying, we have no idea, sorry. Which is kind of what I expected, but what I was hoping to get was a little bit more than that. But unfortunately, that's not what we got. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? The UAP UFO report has come out. We just went through the whole thing. Did they give us anything worthwhile? Did they actually tell us stuff that we wanted to know? Or was it exactly what we expected? Another flop and bust from the government that just feeds us a little bit and takes back a lot. In the end, ladies and gentlemen, all you can do is listen to the evidence, apply a little common sense, and you be the judge. We got to close it out. That's right. That's it for this episode of the Dark Wolf's Den Show for Thursday, July 1st, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the den may be closing, but don't you worry, the weekend fun has only just begun. That's right, Mr. AJ the Ripon Rabbit will be back on Friday, July 2nd, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, right here on Ripon Common Sense Radio and the RiponRabbitHole.com. On Friday, AJ is going to be talking about the red, white, and blue. That's right, the colors of this country, and what does it mean to you? These episodes, by the way, this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, may be the most important episodes ever done on Ripon Common Sense Radio, and I highly suggest you tune in, as there will be some very special information and announcements coming on both Friday and Saturday. And on Saturday, July 3rd, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, AJ is going to go from talking about the red, white, and blue to the stars and the stripes, both extremely important parts of the flag and American culture and what it means to truly be an American. And that is becoming such a lost thing in this world. Some Americans need to stand up and say enough is enough, in my opinion. But make sure you check out that show on July 3rd, Saturday, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. Then on July 4th, 2021, that is Sunday, that is the most special day of the month here on Ripon Common Sense Radio. That is the brand new Fantastic Fun Show. At least that's the current name of it, right? But if you want to vote on what the next name is going to be for the Fantastic Fun Show, make sure you hurry on over to the RiponRabbitHole.com. That is RiponRabbitHole.com. That's right, over there you're going to find the poll that asks, should be on the front page asking, what should the new name for the Fantastic Fun Show be? There's a series of selection. Make sure you go cast your vote and see if we can get a new name on the Fantastic Fun Show for the next month. And this month will be the last time it is called the all-new Fantastic Fun Show, but it'll still be just as much fun. And come on by on Sunday to participate and see if you could be the next king or queen of the Fantastic Fun Show and of Ripon Rabbit Hole and Ripon Common Sense Radio. Then on Tuesday, July 6th, the weekend gets kicked off early with our buddy Champion Sports Nation and Tuesday Night Videos. That's right, he's going to be back with the Tuesday Night Video Trivia Show. Right now, Sandy B holds that championship, but if you think you can steal it away from her, make sure you come on by the 24/7 Backstage Lounge. This is an exclusive Backstage Lounge only show. This is not broadcast on the radio, so make sure you guys come on back and check that out. It is lots of fun. I go back there during these shows sometimes and I have an absolute blast. Champion Sports Nation is an amazing host, a great trivia master, and he really makes it lots and lots of fun to interact with. So make sure you guys come back 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central on Tuesday, July 6, 2021 for Tuesday Night Video Trivia exclusive right here on Ripon Common Sense Radio, the RiponRabbitHole.com. While you're over on the RiponRabbitHole.com, make sure you hop on over to the Down the Rabbit Hole section and drop down the rabbit hole with the rest of the rabbits. And that is our exclusive social media site over there. And make sure you leave us a line and let us know you've been by. And any information you might want to drop us over there, that's exactly where you need to drop it, on the Down the Rabbit Hole social media section. That's right. Also, besides the 24/7 Backstage Lounge and the Ripon Rabbit Hole, we've got a load of other fun stuff over there, like the group section, as well as the big red button at the bottom of the page. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, that button right there is going to record 30 seconds of audio, and it's going to send it to the studio, and we're going to put it for you on the radio. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, remember, if you'd like to help sponsor us and help us out here, it is absolutely free. All you got to do is share us out, let people know we exist, share us on all your social medias, and tell all your friends and family about the Dark Wolf's Den Show, the Ripon Common Sense Radio, and the RiponRabbitHole.com. Also, tell your local radio service provider that you want the Ripon Common Sense Radio on your radio where you're at, and tell them they need to reach out to us, and we'll gladly work something out to get it on in every area of this country is what we'd like to do, and across the world. So tell your local radio station to pick up Ripon Common Sense Radio. Also, if you would like to support us monetarily, that is easy to do. Go over to the Dark Wolf's Den Show YouTube channel. Drop down in the details section. We've got plenty of addresses for cryptocurrency, as well as Patreon and PayPal links if you are so inclined. Also, go to the details section of the Ripon Rabbit Hole YouTube page or the riponrabbithole.com. That's right. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of AJ the Ripon Rabbit, Chick Mandela Effect, Michael Musco, Walt House, everybody at Ripon Common Sense Radio, Mr. Tom Bayless, and Red Shed Studios. Get it, Tom. Come on, one more time, Tom. Get it. If you're looking for a custom soundtrack for your next project, make sure you check out Red Shed Studios. Information in the details section on Dark Wolf's Den Show YouTube page. On behalf of all these amazing folks, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And remember, until next time, stay awake, but dare to dream. Good night, everybody. Get it, Tom. We got a couple minutes left. A couple seconds. Get down with it. Tom Bayless, ladies and gentlemen. Pack it up, Tom. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Ripon Common Sense Radio, my name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And remember, until next time, stay awake, but dare to dream. Good night, everybody. How?
Unlocked and into the dark. Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner, is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner, is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion? I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.